Are you one of those people who never uses the dishwasher in their kitchen? Or are you one of those people who just started living on their own and wants to set up their kitchen? Either way, you must be wondering, how much will it cost you to populate your kitchen with pots and pans and plates and bowls and spoons and forks and knives and cutting boards? Luckily, I've got the answer for you. Hello, fellow foodies, what's cooking? I've lived in 4 different countries, and I'm no stranger to moving and setting up my home kitchen, because I can't just take all my stuff with me overseas. Since I recently moved to Canada and had to set up my home kitchen again, I decided to keep track of all the numbers. And I hope by sharing all those numbers with you, I can help you if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. Let's start with things that use electricity in the kitchen. They're probably going to be the most costly kitchen items. A rice cooker is not only a useful kitchen tool, but also a symbol of my identity. I may not eat rice as much as I used to, but it's a shrine I'd like to keep in my kitchen so that I can be proud of my own origin. And I bought this model because Uncle Roger approved of it.
If Uncle Roger go to your house and I see you have baby elephant rice cooker, I know your rice gonna be good.
And what kind of modern home kitchen doesn't have an air fryer? I wouldn't be surprised if someday it comes with the apartment because they're just as important as a microwave. I mean, who's got the patience to wait for an oven to preheat when they're starving? The winters of Canada are long and cold, so a kettle that makes hot water is an absolute necessity. I went with this fancy model that keeps the temperature constant so that you don't have to keep boiling again. I use a pressure cooker for making stock. It's perfect because air doesn't come out of it, which translates to better smelling food and a less smelly apartment. Funny story. Right after I bought this pot, the company behind it went bankrupt. Apparently because it's so durable and it has all the functions one would ever need, that people never buy it again if they already own one. It's ironic because it would have been a great advertisement. In my opinion, every kitchen needs these 2 magic wands, an immersion blender and an immersion circulator. My immersion blender can transform into a hand mixer and a food processor with its attachments, so it's very versatile and very useful for making salsas. On the other hand, an immersion circulator, also known as a sous vide cooker, can help anyone make Michelin-grade meats. It's as simple as operating a microwave. And considering you can make great meat dishes with much cheaper cuts, this machine actually pays for itself. And finally, the cost of these appliances in US dollars, with tax added, comes to $1,028. I've got a very basic and minimal setup. I have 1 board for meat and 1 board for vegetables to minimize cross-contamination. The wooden cutting board is for vegetables and looks good enough for taking photos. The plastic board is for meat and can be washed in the dishwasher. I use a santoku knife that is suitable for almost all situations, and I use a boning knife specifically for boning and filleting because the santoku knife is just too big for those tasks. These knives are rather expensive, but they're the best investments you can make in the kitchen. Once you know how much time and trouble you can save with a sharp knife, you'll never look back. And finally, the addition of knives and cutting boards brings the total to $1,393. Dinnerware. You'll need these even if you only order food and never cook. My collection starts with a set of dinner plates and dessert plates, a few dipping bowls for dips and condiments, some ramen bowls for soups, ramen, and salads, and then some rice bowls because I'm Asian, Plus, they're pretty compact and versatile. To accompany your food, you'll need some mugs and glasses. Soup spoons and chopsticks are must-haves for Asian food. And finally, a flatware set completes the collection. These dinnerware cost $756, bringing the total to $2,149. Pots and pans. For the stovetop, I have a wok, a small saucepan, and a large saucepan. They double as mixing bowls, and you can also wash vegetables in them. All of them are Teflon coated non-stick pans because they're cheap and will basically last forever, given that you don't let other people use them.
And because an omelet pan will last you the rest of your life, don't leave it around if you've got a lot of careless people in the kitchen, because if you do, they'll just ruin the pan.
For the oven, I have a Dutch oven and an earthenware pot. You can braise meat and make stews in the Dutch oven, and you can make soups and Korean dishes with the earthenware pot. They both work on the stovetop as well. Of course, you also need some baking sheets with racks for baking all kinds of stuff, and loaf pans for all kinds of bread. Also, don't forget oven mitts. The cost of pots and pans amounts to $492, and now the total number becomes $2,641. Not everyone cooks the same way, so your favorite utensils may be different from mine, but here are the 16 types of utensils that I like the most. A citrus press for extracting citrus juice without having to wash your hands. A strainer set, no explanation needed. A ladle for soups. A turner for delicate stuff like omelets and fish. A slotted spoon for hard-boiled eggs. A bunch of tongs for picking things up. A few measuring cups for quick measurements. A handheld knife sharpener for conveniently sharpening your knives when you don't have someone to impress. A basting brush for barbecues. A rolling pin for shaping dough when you don't drink alcohol and don't have a beer bottle conveniently lying around. A kitchen scale for people who hate surprises. A bunch of squeeze bottles for accelerating the cooking process. An oil sprayer for not having to brush oil on something. Kitchen shears for cutting stuff when they don't get along with a cutting board. A peeler for fans of tubers. A can opener, a must-have for Italian cuisine. I spent a total of $394 on utensils, increasing the overall sum to $3,035. And there you go! To make your kitchen fully functional, you'll need $3,035 US. However, I focus on quality instead of cost effectiveness or affordability, so you can safely remove 50% of the cost and still make it work. Do keep in mind that the number doesn't include consumables like paper towels, parchment paper, seasonings, spices, etc. And depending on where you live, I'd say $3,035 US is probably equivalent to 1 to 3 months of rent. Did that number surprise you? Is that too much in your opinion? Have you decided whether to invest in kitchen equipment or to stick to ordering deliveries? Let me know in the comment section below. And finally, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bon appetit, and see you next time.